Okay, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Looks like we've got just about everything up and running here. All right, let's go ahead and remove the splash screen. There we go. All right, well, greetings, Kerbonauts. Welcome to Kerbal Space Program. My name is Rice. I am a KSP minimalist, and this is the career space program. Since doing, actually, I don't think we've ever done a career before, have we? All this time, all the videos that we've ever done, we've always done it with Sandbox. So this is actually the first time we've ever broadcasted a video series with the career. So, me being a big fan of stock game parts and the stock game itself, we're going to be doing this with mainly stock parts. However, there are going to be a few mods here. We're going to be using Kerbal Engineer and a few other plugin mods that'll up the difficulty level a little bit in this game here. Consequently, this career mode is going to be a little bit more challenging too, because there's no quick saving. So it looks like it's going to be a permadeath series here. So it's all or nothing. So be prepared for a lot of crashes and a lot of failures. Okay, so first off, what we need to do here is we need to get ourselves up into space, right? So let's head on over and grab our first sets of contracts here. So launch our first vessel, and then we're going to have gather science data from Kerbin. That one's going to be an easy one. So let's head on over towards the VAB. And then from the VAB, let's see here. Let's go ahead and grab our Mark 1 command pod. And we're going to grab our first bit of science. And this one's going to be the really easy bit of science. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and grab Bob Kerbin, our resident space scientist. Oh yeah, I forgot. We have Kerbal construction. So, wow. We're going to have to build one pod. How long does it take to build one pod? Let's see. Yeah, we're going to exit. Don't save. Now, with the Kerbal construction time, not everything is built immediately. Well, nothing is built immediately with Kerbal construction time. Remember when I said that things are going to be a little bit more challenging? Yeah, we're going to use stock parts, but that doesn't mean the plugins are going to make things any easier for us here. So it's going to take us 5 days to build one little Mark 1 pod. So let's go ahead and warp to that. So this one, the initial first mission or so is going to be a little bit mundane because we just need to get some quick science here. So here we go. Our vessel is complete. We're going to head on over to the morning. Okay, there we are, and we are in the morning. And then let's go ahead and let's see here. Please go to the vessel. Create a vessel. Okay. So let's go ahead and head on over. Actually, I think we're in the wrong spot. It's been a while since I've messed with this mod here. Let me see if I can find, because we finished building that pod. So where's that little bit that allows us to load up the pod? Please go to the vehicle assembly building and create a vessel. So we've already created a vessel. Hold on, wait a minute. I think I got it. Okay, VAB, there you are. Let's go ahead and roll you out. We are rolling out an untitled space capsule just for rudimentary science here. That's okay, though. Okay, there we are. And then we'll just go ahead and launch. And then we're going to remove Jebediah. And we're going to add in Bob Kerman here. And we're just going to grab some quick science. Okay, here we go. So this one is a crew report. Keep. And then we're going to have Bob come on out. EVA report. Keep. And then he's going to go back into the pod and come back out of the pod. Talk about mundane. Okay, here we go. All right. So this one is largely unspectacular. because all we're doing is we're just taking out a pod just to grab some quick science here. There we are. Okay, so next up we just recovered the vessel, and we are good to go. Perfect. So now we have our first bit of science here, and we could just buy some of the rudimentary stuff that we need to get ourselves into the stratosphere. So here we are. And that gives us 14 science left. That gives us, oh, we are just shy of our next bit. But we got some pretty decent and standard parts here. So next up, let's go ahead and design our first launchable craft. I guess we want to escape the atmosphere. So first off, we want to launch our vehicle and then escape the atmosphere. Okay, good, good, good. This one's going to be a small SRB model, SRB powered craft. So let's go ahead and put on a parachute. And then we need a flea booster. Okay, this will do it. Okay, and let me see. We're a Kerbal engineer. This will get us Delta V. Okay, so this won't even get us to break the atmosphere, but that's okay. That's not what we're really... Well, actually, let's see. Can we... Oh, you know, we could probably put another flea booster at the bottom of this one. That way we can activate this first one, and since there's no decoupler, we can see about having the second booster ignite and just blow this one off. And we can have some really... some really explosive decoupling, but we're gonna play this somewhat realistically. So let's go ahead and get the staging corrected here, and then we're gonna put on some mystery goo, get some snap to function on our build here, and then interesting, what happened? Well, first off, we're gonna do our... We're going to call this Mercury 1. Is there... Do we not get a... I'm looking for the antenna, but I guess we don't get the antenna during the Tier 1 part of the tech tree. Let's go and take a look at the tech tree, and let's see if I'm missing something here. Oh, my goodness, I forgot. Okay, so here... in techs and upgrades, it's going to take them 2 days to research this. Okay. The Kerbal construction mod doesn't allow you to immediately research something. So this one's going to take a little while. Okay. All right. Good deal. So we'll go ahead and let them research that. And we're just going to go ahead and use this with just Tier 0 technology. All right, here we go. Let's go and put some fins. There we go. That way we're not flopping around in the breeze here when we launch. Okay, Mercury 1 is saved. Let's go ahead and build this buddy. Okay, so it's added to the VAB list. Good. And then next up, let's see how long it takes to build this guy. Okay, so on the build list, the VAB, it's going to take 10 days to build this tiny rocket. All right, let's... man, there's no... Oh, there it is, warp 2. Okay, and we're going to warp towards the completed construction of our Mercury 1 rocket. And there we are. It is built, and now let's go ahead and roll it out onto the pad. It's going to take about 3 hours here, so we're going to zip on forward here. Okay, we are ready for launch. We're going to launch during the day, so we're going to zip on to the morning. And there we are. Okay, so this one should tell me that Mercury 1 is completed. Perfect. Okay, and from the VAB, let's go ahead and launch this sucker. We're going to put Jebediah Kerman in the seat this time. He's going to lead the way. All right, here we go. And throttling up And we're going to go ahead and get mystery goo from here. There we go. And we're going to keep that. All right. SAS is on. All right, Jebediah, stand by for launch. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, launch. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and observe the mystery goo. We're going to keep that. All right, and so we broke a speed record of 25 meters per second. We've launched our very first vessel. We broke the speed record of 80 meters per second. And then we broke an altitude of 500 meters. We broke another speed record of 250 meters per second. And we broke an altitude of 2 kilometers. Not too shabby. Okay, and let's go ahead and... Ooh, looks like we launched our very first vessel, so we completed that mission. Perfect. Now the big trick... Can this thing, can this single parachute carry this vehicle to the ground without causing unneeded explosions? Okay, we're at 1.53 tons. I think the parachute could probably handle. Hopefully this little buddy here can handle the load. Okay, so we're coming straight down like a bullet. Let's open up the parachute right now. That way, we're not endangering our crew here, because there's always that possibility that the parachute could shear off if we're coming back too fast. Okay, here we go, and parachute should take over about 500 meters. There we are, and we've flopped on back right side up. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and speed up time. All right, so dropping down at 6.5 meters per second. That's a pretty safe velocity there for us. And perfect. We have largely landed. There we go. Okay, so another world's first milestone. The recent accomplishments of our space program has attracted contributions from numerous organizations. We have returned to the service, to fame, and 4,800 Kerbal bucks. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and recover this guy. Let's check our list here. Yeah, looks like we managed to check a few of our space requirements here, science requirements. All right, let's go ahead and recover our vessel. Okay, and perfect. We are now at 59 science. All right, let's go ahead and do some more research here. We could probably just get all 3 of these guys here. So let's research that, and research that. There we go. So node will unlock in 7 days. So it's going to be about 2 weeks before we unlock all the stuff that we set about to research. In the meantime, let's go ahead and upgrade these facilities here. So we're going to upgrade that. And we're going to upgrade this facility here. Okay. So again, facility upgrades aren't upgraded immediately. They should take some time. Let's take a look here. Well, first off, let's go ahead and save. So we're going to save this under just a random item that says new. Okay, here we go. So our launch pad should be completed in 9 days. And let's check our tech research here. Okay, so 27 days. Vehicle assembly building. Okay, so we haven't completed any of the research yet. I guess we could just warp to. Let's go ahead and check to see if we've got any other items that we want to research here. Orbit Kerbin, of course. Let's go ahead and set that. All right, let's go ahead and begin our warp process here. So let's warp to upgrading the launch pad. This should, by the time the launch pad is upgraded, some of our research should already be done too. So, all right, so zipping on through. All right, looks like we've researched just about every tech node that we sought out to research, so we're good. Okay, so Launchpad is now upgraded. Woohoo! Okay, so let's go ahead and save. And we're going to save this under new. There we go. And we're going to move on towards morning. All right. Next up, we need to build a rocket that can escape the atmosphere. So we need to get into space. So let's go ahead and begin the construction of Mercury 2. Okay, so I should have, there it is. So now we've got an antenna, so now we can finally transmit some science. I wonder, do we have, yep, there it is. We got a service bay. Perfect. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Let's put in a service bay, and that's where we're going to stick all our little doodads, including our science and our some of our monopropellant and stuff. And speaking of which, we don't really need monopropellant right now, so let's put that to 0. And we don't want any doodads sticking out. So let's go ahead and stick some of this stuff into the bay. Okay. This bay here is mostly going to carry some science. So we're going to stick an emergency reserve parachute inside. Let's see here. Now, part of the reason why we're going to stick all this stuff inside of this vehicle is so that we don't have any lopsided aerodynamics. I know the aerodynamics model in this game has been set up in such a way where it'll be easy to flop over your craft if you don't have things properly stored away from that vile airstream that threatens to throw your spacecraft off. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, so we got our emergency chute. Let's go ahead and stick our antenna in there too. So first off, let's get 2 of these and stick those inside. And then we're going to stick an antenna in here too. We don't want the antenna sticking out during liftoff. So let's put this underneath. There we go. And we're going to have this stick out like this, so that when we extend the antenna, it should jut out just slightly like that. Okay. Okay, close enough. All right, so we'll keep that. And now we're going to put some Kerbal Engineer here. Okay, so remember when I said this game is going to be stock parts? Well, I guess we're stretching the rules a little bit here when we're using Kerbal Engineer parts. But that's pretty much the only extra parts we're going to be using beyond the stock game. So let's go ahead and put this here. There we go. Because we need to be able to track our vehicle while it's going into space. And I really want to stick one of these guys here, the Science Junior package, but it's way too bulky. And it doesn't re-enter very well into the atmosphere. So until we develop the means with which for us to EVA, we're going to not use that Science Junior. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick this guy here. And let's put on a fuel tank. And let's check our Kerbal Engineer here. So we're going to throw on, well, actually, we're going to stick 2 fuel tanks. And a swivel engine. So let's throw this puppy here. Okay. So that should be almost well enough to put us into space. We're not taking any chances, though, because we can't. There's no way for us to save once we launch. Remember, there's no quick saving in this version of version of career mode. Did I just? Okay, so I just wanted to double check to see if we got the swivel engine latched onto here. I thought we put on the Reliant engine, but I guess we had the swivel engine there all the time. I really want to I use the swivel engine almost all the time when I'm using 1.25 meter parts. The Reliant engine is great and all, but it doesn't have gimbaling capability on its engine, so I tend not to use it a whole lot. All right, so next up, let's put on another decoupler, and then we're going to use some SRBs. SRBs are amazing and wonderful in career mode because they are cheap. And they're an excellent way, an excellent, cheap, and efficient way to develop initial thrust during liftoff. Okay, let's go ahead and put on some fins. Okay, there we are, and we're just going to put some really tiny base fins here. Perfect. Okay, so Mercury 2 is just about done here. Yeah, we almost have enough delta V to get ourselves into orbit. But this one is definitely going to be a suborbital flight. Okay, next up, we can't set our crew just yet. So, because we have to build this puppy. Let me see here. Which one shows us? Okay, so it's going to take us 18 days and 15 hours to build the Mercury 2 rocket. Actually, the thrust weight ratio is 1.93. Let's go ahead and lower that just a little bit here. We're going to drop this down to 1.7. There we go. Ideally, if you're launching a vehicle, say if you're playing realistically, so if you're playing real solar system mod with realism overhaul, you want to drop your thrust weight ratio with a manned spacecraft at around 1.8. That way you don't squish your Kerbals to death. Here, it doesn't matter though, but I do this to drop it down to I drop it below 1.8 to help save fuel. Because at some point during launch you reach max Q and you're just wasting fuel if your thrust weight ratio is too high. Same thing with this engine here. Let's go ahead and lower this puppy. We're going to drop the max thrust down to, yeah, there we go. 1.38. That should help us save fuel there too. Okay, perfect. All right, let's save this puppy, and then we're going to... Oh, wait, I pressed the wrong button. We need to build this rocket. So let's head back. Okay. And let's go ahead and build. All right, so now we got the Mercury 2 rocket under construction. Let's go ahead and warp to its construction here. So, vehicle assembly building, VAB. All right, so it's going to take 18 days to build it. Let's go ahead and warp to its construction. I should probably build a couple of these guys ahead of time, actually. That way we can queue up and pipeline some rockets for launch for future missions and not have to wait for its construction to complete. Okay, and there we go. All right, next up, let's go ahead and roll the rocket out to the pad. So it'll take 15 hours to roll this rocket to the pad. I have an alert here, probably telling me that the rocket is completed. Yep. Following vessel is completed, Mercury 2. Perfect. Okay, so, oops, wrong button. Okay, and VAB. All right, so let's go ahead and warp to 15 hours ahead to have it roll onto the pad. There we go. All right, so we now have our rocket on the pad, who gets to fly in our historic flight into space. Let's see here. Let's go to the VAB. And let's put in Valentina this time. So, Jeb, you were on the last mission. So, Valentina, let's have you on here. Okay. Valentina Kerman, of course, the video game equivalent of Valentina Tereshkova, the very first female in space. Russian, of course. All right. So, let's go ahead and put you onto the pad. Okay. Let's hope we got everything right here, because there's no turning back now. As you can see, there's no revert flight. So, we're going to go somewhere, whether it be in a fiery ball into the ground or hopefully into space on this launch. SAS is on. Stand by for launch. Expressions of indifference from Valentina Kerman here. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch. And we have liftoff of the Mercury 2 rocket, sending Valentina and our very first Kerbal into space. Okay, so we have just passed 50 meters per second, so we're going to go ahead and turn our rocket to 5 degrees towards the horizon. Very slowly. I am just suppressing this D key like no one's business, and that rocket is barely moving at all. So we probably won't be able to turn our rocket. So we're stuck in this position here. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay, I'm looking down at the nav ball down here, and it's just slightly off center. I'm trying to push it over to 5 degrees, but it's not working. Those fins are working a little bit too well here, and we have no control surfaces to control the flight guidance. So, oh well. Okay, here we go, and decoupling first stage. Now we can swivel our engine to turn us over. So let's go ahead and turn this puppy over, and we're gonna turn ourselves to 45 degrees. There we are. Perfect. Okay. In the meantime, let's go and open up our bay. And we're going to go ahead. And I think we're high enough in the atmosphere that we can get some high atmosphere science. Yep, there it is. And Valentina, let's go ahead and get a crew report. And transmit that data. Perfect. And we got the antenna sticking out there, transmitting data. Perfect. Technically, I shouldn't be opening up this bay in atmospheric flight, but, well... we need to get that crew report, so it is worth the risk. Okay, so as you can see, our apoapse is now at 76 kilometers. So now let's go ahead and deactivate our engine, turn ourselves towards the horizon. There we are. And then we are 1 minute 20 seconds to apoapse. So let's go ahead and coast on up there. So we're going to speed up time just a bit. Valentina still expressions of indifference here. Looks like we hit our next milestone. Let's see. We broke an altitude of 22 kilometers. Excellent. We have broken a land distance of 3 kilometers. Perfect. We have broken a speed record of 790 meters per second. So we've broken... No, I think we've broken a sound barrier. And we have broken a land distance of 10 kilometers. Excelente. Okay. Now we are in space. Woo! Okay, so we've completed that science. We've reached space, and we've broken an altitude of 70 kilometers. Perfect. All right, so next up, let's go ahead and get our science from up here in space. So we're going to open up our other mystery goo container. And we're going to keep that puppy. And then we're going to do a crew report. And we're going to let's see, how much electricity do we have? Yeah, we got plenty of electricity. So let's go ahead and transmit that. Perfect. Okay, next step, let's go ahead and activate our engine. And what we want to do here, really, and the reason why I'm burning towards the horizon is I want to flatten out this trajectory here. Because if we come back to Kerbin on a really steep fall, we may hit the ground a little bit too hard, and we may not be able to open up our parachute because we'd be coming down towards the ground too fast. All right. Here we go, and now we should be okay from here. So let's go ahead and separate. And we're going to turn ourselves over. How are we doing on battery power? Battery power is looking excellent. And we're going to turn ourselves over. Okay. And now, let's... here I would F5... Huh, I guess you can quick save, but what do you know? F5 does work, so you can quick save. Even though I turned off quick loading, there's no, It defeats the purpose of quick loading if you can quick save, unless you can quick save but not quick load. In any case, though, I don't think I can quick load, because I'm pretty sure I turned that off. Okay, let's go ahead and speed up time here, and come back into the atmosphere. Okay, at some point I'm going to turn off SAS. Actually, let's check the crew report again. Good. Okay, so we already got some high atmospheric science. Let's go ahead and close those bays. Okay, and we're going to turn off SAS, and we're going to let the aerodynamics of this vehicle naturally put us on our retrograde marker here. Hopefully, if we got our vehicle balanced correctly, that we're not going to skew too much. There it is. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we're still speeding up towards the ground here. How are we doing? All right. Hoo boy. I'm going to open up our emergency chute here too, just in case. Matter of fact, let's see which ones are... Okay, so we're going to open up our top chute first. And we need to drop below 250 meters per second for us to reach safe parachute opening altitude. Parachute opening speed. Ah! Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Oh, I think the issue was the, oh my gosh. I think the issue was, I had physics time warp on. I know physics time warp tends to be a little bit wonky, when we're, it tends to be a little wonky during re-entry because it doesn't always properly slow down the craft. However, we lost Valentina. So let's, my goodness, let's head back to the Space Center here. Did we lose? Hopefully we didn't lose too much science on that one. Okay. So, fortunately, Valentina is one of our immortal Kerbals. So, well, she'll probably get a Purple Heart for this one. Okay. So, let's head on over towards our science here. Let's see what we need. Flight controls. We have enough for one. Really would like some battery power. Yeah, let's go and get that with the thermometer. So we'll go ahead and set that. So it's going to take 22 days to research that. My goodness. Okay, so next up, let's go ahead and upgrade our PR administrative facility. And we're going to go ahead and upgrade... guess we should upgrade our tracking station, but we're going to go ahead and... Let's see, which one... There it is. Kerbals can perform EVAs. We're going to go and upgrade our facility here so that we can do some EVAs. Okay. So, let's check our contracts. So, we still need to orbit Kerbin. Oh, man. So much lost science. Ferry 2. Oh, yeah. Hold on. We need to get... let's go ahead and get an unpaid research program so that we can convert... our reputation into science. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll accept that strategy. Yes. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to convert 25% of our reputation. And turn that into some science. Okay. Hopefully, the science that we lost on that unintended crash, we can still recover. Let's see here. What else can we do? Do we have... Okay, no. Nope. Okay, so... at least we can EVA now. So let's go ahead and build another Mercury 2 rocket. There it is. So it's going to take us 18 days. And this time... Ooh, actually, let's go back and to the VAB. And then I wonder if we can cancel construction here. Scrap. We're going to scrap this puppy. And let's go ahead and redesign this thing a little bit more. We need more safety precautions on this rocket. So we're going to put a few extra parachutes here. We're just going to go ahead and slather this thing up top. So we're going to put 2 up top here. There we go. So that should save. Okay. It's going to give us a little bit more more drag on the liftoff, but that's inconsequential compared to the rest of the rocket that we have here. All right, let's go ahead and build this puppy again. All right. And let's go ahead and time warp. So VAB, and then we're going to warp to the construction of our Mercury 2 rocket. I wonder if we should send Bob this time. Actually, no, we're not going to send Bob on this one here. We are going to send our second pilot, though. We're going to go ahead and send Jebediah this time around. Okay, we're going to roll out. 16 hours to roll it to the pad. So we're going to zip on forward here to 16 hours later. And vessel telling us that, okay, so Mercury 2 has been completed. And it's on the pad. Perfect. We're going to head on over to the next morning. Okay. And there we are. And let's go ahead and launch this puppy. So I wonder if no, Valentina's not back. Okay, Jeb, you are our last pilot. Don't screw this up, buddy. I believe in you. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are on the pad. Stand by for launch. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Launch. Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and keep that data. I thought we already got that crew report, but I guess not. And let's go ahead and turn our rocket over just slightly. Even though we can't turn our rocket over. Okay, we definitely need to get better reaction wheels. Or hopefully we can get some fins with control surfaces on it. Okay. And we are just about finished on our first stage here. Perfect. Okay. Whoops, wrong button. And disengage. And we're going to turn ourselves over slightly here. Going to flatten out our trajectory just a bit here. Looks like we're a little bit steep on our climb, so we're going to have to turn ourselves over. Past the 45-degree mark, absolutely. Switching over to orbital speed indicator. And let's see here. This time, let's put our 2 primary backup chutes towards the front. So we're going to open those when we come back. Open up. And then we're going to go ahead and start transmitting. Let's see here. Review, report, and transmit. Okay, and another crew report. Okay, so we already got that. Mystery goo. Good, so we're going to keep that. Alright, so looks like the science is still recoverable. We're just going to have to pick up where Valentina left off. Okay, we're definitely going to have to lift our nose up here. If we want to get ourselves into space. I don't think we're going to make it, guys. I was a little bit too steep on the angle. That's okay, though. Alright, but we can get an EVA report from up here, so it's not a complete loss. Let's get some EVA data and go back inside. Perfect. And this is a chance for us to test our parachute system. Okay, next up we're going to go ahead and... Ooh, I did not mean to do that. Let's do this manually. Okay. We accidentally let go of one of our parachutes. Okay, so... Gosh, disarm. There we go. And then disarm. Woo! Okay, good. Well, that's a neat little feature and that they added in from the patch there. We can disarm parachutes. Nice. Okay. Here we go. And then let's go and time warp again. This time we're going to do this a little bit more carefully. Go and close up the bay. All right, here we go. Fingers crossed, guys. We're going to try to get this capsule back in one piece. Okay, so we're dropping down pretty good here. Let's go and switch over to surface speed. 1,100 meters per second. Okay, usually we don't start slowing down until somewhere around the 25-kilometer mark. which can be pretty hairy. So we got to be real careful about this one here. As soon as we start slowing down and we lose all the shock heating from re-entry, we're going to start opening up that bay so that I can utilize that other parachute. Here we go. I'm going to turn off SAS. I'm going to let the natural aerodynamics of the vehicle carry us on its retrograde marker. Okay, let me... I think I've learned my lesson this time. I am turning off time warp. And we're going to slow down, hopefully, a little bit more liberally this time. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on. We're still coming in way too fast. Way too fast. Don't want to lose our last pilot here. Whew, okay. Here we go. Slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. All right, so we've got plenty of altitude, and our speed is slowing down nice and liberally. That's good. Okay, so we're going to start opening up our bay after we lose the shock cone on our craft here. And here we go. So we're going to open up the bay. That should give us access to our parachute. All right, I think we're going to pull this one off. Parachutes away. Deploy chute. And deploy chute. Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. Complete overkill on the parachutes. But considering that there's no take-backsies on this career, I don't think you can ever overkill on safety. Okay, let's go ahead and time warp here. Finally got some good science here. Gosh, I guess we're going to have to use this this other mystery goo here for the ocean once we hit the water. Okay. Here we go. And this one's going to be a little bit long because we are coming down really slow, 4 meters per second. Side effect of having way too many parachutes on the vehicle. So we're going to speed up time a little bit more. A lot more, actually. Okay. And, oh boy, this is going to be a little while. Okay, now braking 400 meter altitude. We could pull a Yuri Gagarin. Because, you know, everyone knows that Yuri Gagarin was the first man in space. However, there's a lot of debate as to whether or not it was a complete flight. Because Yuri Gagarin didn't guide his capsule all the way back down to the ground after he went into space. He essentially ejected out of his capsule after he entered the planet's atmosphere. I'm not sure what the altitude was, something like 2 kilometers or something. So he didn't land his capsule on the ground, but rather he parachuted out of his capsule and landed himself down. All right, here we go. And we are finally on the ground, in the water. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and use that mystery goo container that we didn't use while we were supposed to go into space because we missed that chance. So let's... okay. Mystery goo, open up. Perfect. And we're going to keep that. And then let's have Jeb exit the capsule. EVA report. Perfect. And into the pod so you can store the EVA report. Come back out into the water. And let's get another EVA report. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? And we're going to keep that. And then back into the pod. Interesting side effect of the update I noticed here is that in the older versions of the game, when the Kerbals exited the unmanned pod, the pod would just flop on over because nobody was guiding the vehicle. But now, I think it has to do with the buoyancy of the water, because when Jebediah exits the capsule now, look at that. The pod still stays upright. Pretty neat. So now I don't have to worry about being trapped outside of the pod because we can't flop into the capsule because the capsule is flopped upside down or in the water or something. So pretty convenient there. All right, so we got another world's first here. We have splashed into the ocean. Yes, we have. Actually, I think Valentina gets the medal for that one, splashing into the ocean. Jeb is just the first Kerbal to splash into the ocean and live. Okay, so let's go ahead and recover this. Here we go. Okay, and back into the facility here. All right, so we got some pretty decent science from this one. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what all is queued up on our tech here. So we're still researching basic science. Do we have any? Okay, so our launch pad is being reconditioned right now. So it's going to take 2 days to get it ready for another launch. Meantime, let's go ahead and check our science. Okay, so... Okay, I think we're researching that. Let me double check just to be sure. Tech, administration. Okay, basic science. Where's our research? Launchpad reconditioning, tech. Okay, let me double check here. So we're gonna time warp a little bit here. Actually, let's... Oh, I think it's basic science that we're researching here. Okay, perfect. Is it? Let me double check here. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another research here. We're almost done researching basic science. Ah, we got some control surfaces here we could get. Something we definitely need if we want to get ourselves into orbit. So, let's go ahead and research this next. Okay, so it's going to take 22 days to research flight control. And let's go ahead and go to our technology here. And let's go ahead and warp. We want to... I really want to get those control surfaces. So we're just going to go ahead and time warp to the time that we've completed researching that. And we probably have enough Kerbal bucks here, actually, to upgrade 1 or 2 of our facilities here. Which is something we should probably, most definitely, but probably do. Okay, perfect. We have now researched flight controls. All right, let's see. We probably need to update. Yeah, we definitely need to update our tracking station. So we'll give that one an upgrade. And that one will take 22 days. All right, while we're here, let's go ahead and save. And again, we're going to call this new. All right. Let's see. What other contracts do we have? VIP. Get this VIP into suborbit. Okay. We could definitely do that. Too bad, though, our pods are only 1 Kerbal pods. Alright. We want to try to get this thing into orbit. We now have new control surfaces. So we're going to design something called... We're going to design the Mercury 3. And Mercury 3 is not going to be a suborbital rocket, but is finally going to be a full-on orbital vehicle. So let's see here. First off, we're going to overhaul this capsule a little bit here. So we're going to open this bay up, and we're going to stick in an inline reaction wheel. That should help us a little bit more with control. There we go. We're going to go ahead and slap that up at the top there. And then, okay, so we definitely need some more fuel. So we're going to pop in another one of these fuel tanks. There we are. Give that a quick save. And let's go ahead and lift this rocket a little bit higher. What are the science instruments we have? We've got a thermometer. Okay, let's go ahead and use that. Ah, gosh, should I really use this Science Junior? Okay. Let's go ahead and, I suppose we could probably use that Science Junior now. Especially since, wait, do we have a control? No, we don't. Okay, yes, let's use this, let's slap on the Science Junior. I'm not a big fan of the Science Junior by itself without the assistance of a scientist, because this is one bulky piece of equipment here, and it doesn't fit well with the rest of the craft. But we're going to use that anyway. So what we're going to do is when this thing gets into space, we're just going to have our space pilot come out, and take that data and store it into the capsule. This Science Junior is not going to come back safely with us back to Kerbin. Okay, next up, how are we doing on engines? We're going to give that a quick save. And let's see. So we don't have enough delta V to get into orbit. We definitely need something more here. So let's go and add in another. Really want to add in another fuel tank, but I guess we could do with what we have here because, yeah, 1700 delta V. That's good. Okay, so we're just gonna have to. We're just gonna have to put in some radial boosters on this thing. Okay. So let's go ahead and stick these guys here. We're going to stick some radial SRBs. Ooh. Way expensive. Okay. There we are. And if we stick these guys on. Whoops. Okay. We don't want to have too many SRBs here. Okay, so this one's gonna be a little bit of a I would say derpy, but pretty Kerbal flight here, because we're gonna use radial boosters, radial SRBs without igniting the center SRB, and then we're gonna ignite the second SRB. All right, so what does that give us? That gives us almost 3,000 delta V. Interesting. Let's go ahead and drop. There we go. We're going to drop the max, the thrust limiter on these radial SRBs. There we go. That should give us a little bit of extra delta V. Really don't want to slip in more SRBs. But if I have to, well, what if we just do 2 radial long SRBs? Let's try that. This is definitely something I don't want to do. But with the current technology we have, we're going to have to load in a couple extra parts to get this thing into orbit. Okay. Let's make sure we got that thing properly set up. Good. Okay. That'll get us into orbit. Most definitely. And by most definitely, I mean probably. Okay, so we're going to definitely have to put in some control fins on this one here. Especially since SRBs don't have gimbling capability. Okay, good. And we're going to put in a couple more here. Because we're going to be going really fast. These things... Let's see, which one's more? 640, 600. Okay, these are... okay, Delta Deluxe winglets are cheaper. Thank goodness. All right. This should get us into orbit. I hope. I really do hope. In the meantime, let's fix this antenna. This antenna keeps getting stuck. Okay, we're going to put the antenna back on there again. It is clipping into the side of the vehicle. And it looks really ugly when you extend the antenna like that. So we're going to do a little bit further down. There we go. Does it fit? Yes, it does. Just barely. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and use that. We're going to give this one a quick save. How long is it going to take to build this monstrosity? Let's take a look. It will take 23 days. All right. 5 more days than the Mercury 2. However, still totally usable. Hey, look at that. We got Valentina back. All right, Valentina. You're going to be up for this one here. So we're going to go ahead and build this rocket. Oops, left the service bays open. And we're going to go and exit. And we're going to have to skip ahead to 23 days. All right, I think, yeah, this facility here is upgrading. All right, so let's go ahead and warp to 23 days later. Tracking station actually should be upgraded by the time we're ready to launch our new rocket. Okay, I imagine I should probably queue up some other things too while we are... Probably should have queued up some other things too while we build our rocket, but oh well. Okay, there we are. Let's go ahead and roll it out onto the pad. Wow, it's going to take a whole day to put this thing onto the pad. Whew. Okay, let's go ahead and warp to the next morning. And to next morning again. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Kerbal days are set on a 6-hour period. Well, this thing here is set up on a 24-hour period. So we're just going to have to scooch this manually here, this time warp. Okay. 20 minutes. There we go. And perfect. Okay. Let's take a look here. We are just about coming towards evening. Yep. So let's go ahead and speed up time a bit here. Okay, and we're going to head on towards the morning. There we go. And we're going to do a daylight launch. Because nighttime launches are hard. Okay, and Mercury 3 is on the pad and built and ready to go. Let's go ahead and launch this. And now that Valentina has recovered from her wounds, now we're going to go ahead and put her on the pad. Here we go. Whew. All right. Stand by for launch. Expressions of indifference from Valentina. We have our brand new launch pad here too, with our brand new rocket. Standing by, ready to launch. Launching in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch! Okay, and as soon as we pass the 50-kilometer mark on our speed here, 50 meters per... I'm sorry, not 50 kilometers, 50 meters per second. Let's go and turn our... We're going to start turning our rocket. Oh. Okay, we're a little bit squirrely with these control surfaces here. So I'm going to hit caps lock here, which will put me into fine-tune mode. And we're just going to tippy-tap our rocket here. Just slightly. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to hold this angle until our radial SRBs are used up. Stand by for radial SRB step. Oh, we got our doors open. Let's close up those doors. And separate. Perfect. Okay. And let's turn our rocket over. Very careful like. We don't want to flip end over end here. We need to turn us to 45 degrees. Okay, we need to go further than 45 degrees now. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to turn quite liberally. There we are. Essentially, we look like a little Sparrow missile here. Little medium-range anti-aircraft missile. Okay, here we go. And now we are tilted past the 45-degree mark. Perfect. Okay, while we're here, let's go ahead and open up our bay. And we're going to separate real quick. There we are. And let's get some science done up here. We have... I'm going to flip ourselves over because we need to get our thermometer. Log temperature. Keep data. Perfect. And now, turn our rocket over. And then close up the bay and activating engine. Okay. There we are. All right, so we still got a little ways to go to get ourselves into orbit here. Actually got quite a ways to go here. We still got another kilometer per second, 1,000 meters per second to get ourselves into proper orbit. Hopefully we have enough fuel for this. Okay. Let's go and turn our rocket properly this way. Okay. There we are. So now we can turn our rocket towards the horizon. At the very least, we're going to get ourselves into space. Even if we don't make it into orbit. All right, so we still got about 600 meters per second of delta V left to go. And our apoapse is almost into space. There we are. Okay, so our apoapse is now in space. So we're pretty much guaranteed to at least get into space, if not into orbit. And I think we're actually going to achieve orbit this time around. Okay. Here we go. Stand by for MECO, main engine cutoff. And MECO. Okay. So we're going to coast to our apoapse here. Okay. And then when we get close to our apoapse, we're going to go ahead and begin our orbit entry burn. So let's go ahead and get our data here since we are now in space. Our first EVA in space. There we go. And we'll keep that data. All right. We have performed a spacewalk in orbit around Kerbin. So our very first first milestone there. And let's go and open up our Science Junior package. Here we are. 50 science. Woo! Okay. We could definitely use that. All right. So let's have Valentina come on up here. And I should probably... Wait, can Valentina restore that? No, she can't. Okay. I was about to say, only scientists can restore science packages. Okay, we definitely need to get our orbital insertion burn done. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, fire! Got a little sidetrack there. Okay, perfect. And we're going to begin our next burn in just a little bit here. We're about 1 minute to our to our apoapse, so we got a little bit of time. Let's have Valentina step out and have her collect. Here we go. We're going to have her take. Ooh, there it is. So she's going to take the temperature data. Okay, and then we're going to take another bit of temperature data. That's the wrong item there. There it is. Okay, so log temperature, keep data. So that's another 16 science. All right, here we go. This should be our last burn to get ourselves into orbit. Okay, orbital burn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! There we go. We've gotten to orbit. Woohoo! Look at that. Apoapse 82 kilometers. Periapse at 75. We're looking beautiful here, guys. World's first. All right. The recent accomplishments of our space program have attracted numerous contributions from organizations. We have entered orbit. Excelente. Okay, don't tell. We didn't tell the recovery team that you'd be staying in space, so they're still looking. Great job, and look at all that amazing science. Cool. All right, so that'll definitely allow us to unlock another node. Okay, next up, we have to prepare for our re-entry burn. So, let's see, how much fuel do we have left? Okay, so fuel is still looking pretty decent. How's our electricity? Electricity is okay. Crew report. Okay, don't need that. Did we already get our goo sample? Let's check. No, we haven't. Okay, so we're going to keep that data. Okay, and here... we're going to reset that because we still have another whole goo container. All right. Meantime, Valentina, let's get that thermometer data again. Okay, here we go. And we're going to creep up inside the bay and take data. There we go. Okay, we're going to store that into the capsule. that thermometer is going to be our primary science generator, since we can have it continually get science without us, without the need to reset the thermometer. Okay, let's go ahead and close the bay for now. And we're going to scooch on over to the other side of the planet and get ready for our re-entry burn. Okay, here we go. And we're moving along the night side. I probably should get the ambient lighting mod here so that you all can properly see stuff that's going on the night side of the planet here. Because this is not exactly, this pitch black is not the best thing to broadcast on a Twitch channel here. Okay, here we go. And now we can begin our re-entry burn. So turning to prograde. And I want to give this a pretty shallow re-entry. That way we're not coming in at too steep of an angle and we end up crashing into the planet. So let's go ahead and give ourselves just a light burn. There we go. And we're going to drop our periaps. Full thrust. And let's put our periaps down to around 20 kilometers. There we go. That is perfect. Where does that put us? Okay, let's burn a little bit more. There we go, 4 kilometers. That'll work. All right, let's hopefully come back alive. All right, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and ditch our engine. We had just 12 units of fuel left to spare, so that wasn't too bad. Whew, okay. Here we go. Beginning state service module separation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Separation. All right. Goodbye, service module. And Science Junior package. You are awesome. Oh, look at Valentina. Smiling like a hotcake. If hotcakes could smile. Actually, I think she's just happy that she's alive this time. Dying once during a mission didn't exactly help her morale. But being the first Kerbal in space, and also the first female, well, being the first Kerbal to orbit the planet, and the first female in space, I bet she's pretty happy. Okay, so let's go ahead and speed up time. Okay, and we're going to do 2 times speed acceleration. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're back in the atmosphere. You're awesome. Oh, well, thank you, DXB. Appreciate it. All right, here we go. And hopefully we don't die this time. We got a shallow enough angle that we should do okay. I have a feeling we're going to probably land somewhere around here. Probably around here. But it's definitely going to be around the dusk side of the planet. All right. So I just have to remind myself that once we complete the shock heating phase, I need to get out of time warp here. I think that's what killed Valentina last time. Is that we hit the ground in the middle of time warp. So that's definitely something we're going to have to fix. We're going to have to watch out for. Excuse me. Okay, so these 2 parachutes, let's go and put those down here. Okay, so we're going to use these 2 parachutes here as our primary chutes, and then we're going to use this one here as our secondary emergency one. I know it's a bit redundant to have so many chutes on a Mark 1 capsule, especially, you know, this something that's 1.25 meters. But considering that, once again, we're playing a series that has no take-backsies, there's no quick saving or quick loading going on here, so if we crash, that's a lot of science that we lose. So I'm taking some extra precautions here. Turning off SAS, and I'm going to allow the aerodynamics of the capsule once again to take over to naturally put us on the retrograde marker. Ooh, random explosion from somewhere. I imagine that was our service module. Okay, and we are passing by the Space Center. I wonder if there's a... Whoops. wonder if we can turn ourselves downward, and she can look out the window and see the... I guess no such luck, huh? It's going to be real difficult to see that. Oh my goodness. We are flopped in all sorts of directions here. Let's SAS again and get ourselves properly angled on re-entry. Okay, good. All right, we're not even denting the ablator, the ablative shielding that we got on our craft, so we're doing pretty good. All right, another random explosions in the background. All right, so we're still coming in at roughly 2 kilometers per second. Hopefully we start slowing down a lot faster at some point here. All right, how are we doing on our trajectory? Okay, well, I was wrong. I thought we were going to land somewhere around here, but we're actually going to come right before the peninsula here. This little somewhat Korean peninsula. Okay. Good. We're dropped down to 1 kilometer per second. Yep. Okay, good. We have a healthy aero braking going on here. And we've now entered the slipstream. We've got the shock cone going on. And let's get ready to unleash our parachutes. Actually, we're just going to activate this chute. I'm going to do this manually here. And activate. And deploy. Deploy. Oh my goodness. Woo! I panicked. I saw that we were coming in a little bit too fast, and I thought that this vehicle was a little too heavy for just one parachute, so I activated the other parachute. So, yeah. So we still have one extra spare chute here that we didn't use. All right, so let's go ahead and use physics time warp here, and we're going to go ahead and coast ourselves down into the ocean. Whew, my goodness. Okay, let's open up the bay. Did we miss anything? Is there stuff here that we still need to get? Let's see. All right, so we're going to squeeze out 3 more science. And let's check our... Okay, so we'll go ahead and keep that data. And so we got our thermometer running again. And let's see. Oh, we haven't gotten a crew report over the water yet. Let's go ahead and keep that data. I guess I could probably transmit it, but we'll just keep that. Perfect. SAS on. I wonder, can I flop this thing over? Because it would be really neat if we can get some temperature data in the water. To do that, though, okay, I need to get out of the craft. And I need to reset that thermometer. Okay. We have a little bit of a problem here. Oh, wait. I think we can do this. Take data. Perfect. Log data. Oh, we have to get a scientist to do that. Or put her back into the pod. So let's get back into the pod. There we go. And then let's get some more science-y thermometer data. So log temperature. There we go. Okay. Now that we got that, do we have everything? Perfect. Do we have a crew report? Whoops. First off, let's go and have her take all the data and then store it. There we go. That should allow us to do another crew report. So, crew report in the water? Yes. Okay, so we are in Kerbin's water. Good. Good. I think we've drained this area dry of as much science as we could get. So let's go ahead and recover this vessel. And we head back into the Space Center. All right, how much science did we get from this one? 249. Outstanding. Okay, so now we can get some really good science going on here. Let's see, another milestone. We have returned to the surface from orbit. Woo, nice job there, Valentina. I imagine it'd probably be a good idea to get the Final Frontier mod here and install it into this game. The Final Frontier mod keeps track of what each individual Kerbal has done and awards them decorations, ribbons, and medals for their achievements. And if I had that mod installed in this game, Valentina probably would be the most decorated Kerbal in our group of astronauts. Okay, so let's go ahead and head on over toward our research wing here. And I really, really want to get some solar panels here. So we're going to go ahead and get some solar panels. There we go. So we're going to skip ahead to tier 3 just a little bit. And then let's get the rest of this stuff. So advanced rocketry, we'll get that. I think we should be able to finish out this part of the tree. That, and then one more, we're going to get aviation. So now we can build planes. Woohoo! All right, so it's going to take 22 days to research these nodes. This one, though, let's see. This is electrics. How long will it take to research electrics? Let's see. Electrics is going to take, oh my goodness, 44 days to research it. Okay. All right, so just to play it safe, we're going to go ahead and save this game again. And we're going to save this over new. Oops. Turn off caps lock, save this over new. Now, since we can build aircraft now, let's go ahead and upgrade the runway. And that'll take a little while to upgrade the runway. What else do we need to upgrade? The astronaut complex is good for now. What else do we have here? Administration building. Okay, I think we're good for right now. Let's go and head on over. Oh, wait a minute. We need to upgrade mission control. Yeah, it's definitely something we've neglected to upgrade. Let's do that. So, perfect. Okay. And while we're doing that, let's go to tech. And we're going to time warp. Because, guys, I really love solar panels. And I hate to be stuck out there without any electricity. So let's go ahead and warp. Okay. So we're going to scooch ahead about 40 days here. By then, though, our runway should be upgraded. Our mission control should be upgraded. There we go. So our facilities are upgraded. Mission control, not quite upgraded yet. Actually, all our research should be done by the time we get electrics researched. Man, it takes it's taking a bit of time to get that electrics research, but totally worth it, though. Okay, 4 days, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Okay, so now everything that we wanted to research, we have researched. Everything we wanted to upgrade, we have upgraded. All right, let's take a look and see what contracts we can fulfill here. Explore the Mun. Definitely something we were waiting for here. Let's go ahead and have that. We'll keep that as one of our contracts. Rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit. Absolutely. Hopefully that one, the rendezvous of 2 vessels doesn't... Okay, good. Never expires. So we just have to have them near each other. This should be a pretty easy one. Actually, we'll go ahead and see if we can fulfill that one. So we're going to launch a probe into orbit. And then we're going to launch a manned vehicle. Or we could just do 2 probes. Just to make things a little easier for us. Or, hear me out on this. We could send some tourists up there to rendezvous. Let's do that. Let's rendezvous some tourists in orbit. That way we can fulfill our rendezvous contract. And also, let's see, where's our... There it is. Oh, it's just 1 tourist. Okay. Okay, so let's ferry 2 tourists. Suborbit, orbit around Kerbal. Yeah. This one's going to be, it's going to expire in 1 year. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and keep that. Okay, so we'll have that tourist go with us too. All right. We have a couple rescue missions here too. Gosh. I guess I should probably pull off a rescue mission. All right. Let's see here. Alzon Kerman. We have 3 astronauts stuck in orbit. Which one would be easier? Let's take a look here. Actually, it's the first time I've ever seen 3 astronauts stuck in orbit around the same planet. Okay, so it's not showing us. I guess we have to accept a contract to see where that astronaut is. Okay, so let's go ahead and rescue one of these guys. I'm hoping we get a pilot out of this one. I really want a pilot or an engineer. let's rescue, let's see, Bartgar, Hermes, or Alzon. Which one? Well, Alzon has pays a little more. Rescue Alzon, who is stranded in orbit around Kerbin. Return him safely to Kerbin. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and rescue Alzon. He pays a little bit more money there. Okay, let's go ahead and start building our rescue craft. Alright. Now, we could easily send a Mercury 3 craft up there. Just to save on... just to be lazy. But really, we want to keep in mind... costs. So let's go ahead and... Actually, nope. Let's go and get a command pod here. And we're going to put in... Actually, we're going to put in a probodobodine probe up top with a parachute, 2 solar panels. There we go. Ooh, let's fix that there. There we go. Let's fix that. There we go. Okay, so it's fixed. We're going to call this Mercury Rescue. And save. Okay. And next up, let's go ahead and put in a heat shield. There we go. We now have the basic pod that'll save our stranded Kerbal. And let's put in a stacked decoupler. And we're going to go ahead and put in a service bay down here. The service bay is not going to have any scientific equipment per se, but it's going to have some essentials. So we definitely need a battery pack. An inline reaction wheel. And what else do we need in there? Definitely need something else. Let's put in an antenna, because you never know when you want to do some last minute science, right? And transmit some stuff back. So let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, okay. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Yeah, there we go. I want to have it, when you extend the antenna, we don't want it to clip through the craft there. Highly, highly unprofessional to have nicks and doodads clip through the vehicle when you don't want them to. There we go. Okay, so we're going to give that one a quick save. And let's see here. What else? Oh, yes, absolutely. We definitely need one of these guys, because we want to be able to keep track of our flight. So we need some flight data. So we're going to go ahead and have that. And I think that's all we really need to send up into space. So let's go ahead and put one of these guys on. Close up that bay. And we're going to put our engine on board here. There we are. Okay. This is going to be our service module. Give that another quick save. All right. So we're going to save quite a bit on part counts here too. Let's put in another set of fuel tanks. 2, 3, and 4. We're going to go for 4. And we're going to put in our swivel engine. So that gives us a thrust to weight ratio of 1.16. Okay, 4,000 delta V. Not too bad. That's enough to get us in orbit. You know, as a matter of fact, I forgot to check to see what sort of orbit our hapless Kerbal is at. I'll take a look at that one in a bit, though, after we're done designing this vehicle. Do we need any radial boosters? Don't want any radial boosters. Unless it's absolutely necessary. You know what? Let's put some radial boosters on here. We got this vehicle is only 11,000. We can spare a little bit of extra cash here. This is going to give us a little bit of extra oomph and some leeway for us to compensate for errors if we have any during mid-flight. And we want to be able to cover for any unintended situations because, remember, no take-backsies on this file, on this game. Okay, this game doesn't have a quick load feature, so... Okay, there we go. All right, so that one's going to give us a little bit of an extra boost. 900 meters per second. Okay, that should do it. And we're going to give that one a save. And how long does it take to build this guy? 20 days. Wow, it takes less days to build Mercury Rescue than it does the other Mercury rocket that we have. Probably because those extra SRBs we have mounted on the other Mercury rocket. Okay, in the meantime, let's go ahead and throw in... oh, I guess we don't need to. Yes, we need to, just in case. We're going to go ahead and put an extra set of fins, just to be safe. So again, we have a rocket that looks like a Sparrow missile. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and build this puppy. And build. And then we're going to head on out. Now, while this is building, let's go and head on over towards the our tracking station. And let's take a look and see where our sad little Kerbal is, what orbit he's in. That sounds right. Holy cow, he is all the way out there. No wonder why this thing is expensive. Okay, we have a bit of a problem here. It's going to require a lot more Delta V to get this guy. No wonder why this mission's more expensive than the standard mission. Jeez Louise, this guy is way out here. Okay, so we're gonna have to redesign the Mercury Rescue rocket. We're gonna let the Mercury Rescue build. In the meantime, let's modify the other rocket. Let's modify this current rocket here. Okay. Gosh, I wish we could do asparagus staging, but we don't have the fuel lines for it. Okay, so this next rocket, we're going to call this Mercury Rescue 2. We're going to save, and then we're going to make a whole bunch of modifications to this. So for one, this rocket's going to be a little bit longer. Now, that means the thrust-weight ratio is going to be terrible, but it's, you know, it's something that we have to deal with anyways. And that gives us 2,000. Okay. What else here? Next up, we are going to put in some radial engines. Okay, we're going to do onion staging since we don't have the fuel lines to do asparagus staging. So, let's see here. We're going to do 4 of these guys. This is going to be one expensive rocket. Okay, and I think that's off-center. No, I think it is on. Okay, I thought that was off-center for a bit there. I guess we're doing fine. Here we go. And we'll put some nose cones on this puppy. And then we're going to put in another set of swivel engines. Okay, what does this do for us now? So this gives us 5,000 Delta V. I think we can do a little bit better. We need extra Delta V. Well, first off, let's get some space tape onto this thing. And we'll stabilize this puppy. I think we can add in another extra tank. So let's go and add that on. Oh boy. Okay, so the issue here is that we don't have any separatrons. Which means that when we decouple these side engines, there's a pretty decent possibility that these radial boosters might smack into the rocket during liftoff. The way to combat that is to make sure that you don't tilt your rocket too far when you do your gravity turn. So this is something I'm just going to have to be mindful of when we're launching. We're going to switch the engines, and we're going to use Reliant engines for the first time. We definitely need the extra thrust. That'll give us a thrust weight ratio of 1.65. Good. Okay, what else? I think we need more Delta V. More Delta V. So, we'll stick to our little engine staging concept, and we are going to Kerbalize this rocket a little bit more. Okay. Oh, this beast is going to be expensive. Okay, so let's put in another nose cone. Oh, my goodness. It's been a long time since I've built a Kerbalized rocket. Most of the time I build, you know, I'm a big fan of minimalist design. And I try to steer away from part-heavy vehicles. But this time looks like I'm making a little bit of an exception. Since we're going to be using the reaction wheels a lot, we're going to up the number of solar panels that we have here. So we're going to go ahead and get this to 4 solar panels. Okay, and we're going to mount it on the service module here. There we go. Look at that. That is going to be some terrible onion staging here. Okay, how much Delta V does that give us? Okay. I think this might be worth it. We're going to give this one a go. This rocket is fairly heavy now, so we're going to go ahead and put on these guys here. I think I'm going to lose money on this mission. I'm pretty sure of it. However, I'm going to get a Kerbal out of it, so it'll be a decent trade-off. And we're going to give that one a save. Whew. Okay. Here we go. And so what we're going to do, we're going to launch, and we're going to use these outward SRBs just to get us vertical upwards. And then we're going to onion stage those, and we're going to use these other engines here to turn us into our gravity turn. So we definitely need some winglets. And we're going to do another set of winglets here. There we go. Holy cow, 36,000 Kerbal bucks. So this is going to be one expensive rocket. Okay. And how long will it take to build this puppy? 33 days. Which actually is a little bit less than I was expecting, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Let's go ahead and actually, let's add in some extra spare parachutes just in case. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to build it. We're going to cancel the building of... Well, actually, no, we're good. All right, and save and exit. Okay, here we go. And VAB, Mercury Rescue. 33 days. We're gonna drop that, drop that. Okay, so both Mercury Rescue craft. And let's go ahead and time warp. 33 days to build this puppy. All right. And I wonder if I have something that I'm researching. No, we're not researching anything. And we're not really upgrading anything either. So I guess I should probably upgrade. We have some extra cash. Okay, there we are. Okay, perfect. All right, and we're going to go and build the other Mercury Rescue craft. So we're going to do another warp 2. This one should be a little bit faster, thank goodness. Okay. Here we go. Now, one Mercury Rescue craft has the has extra parachutes, and the other one only has one parachutes. Unfortunately, I I flubbed on the naming process, and I don't know which one has extra parachutes on it. So we're gonna guess here. Oh boy, here we go. VAB, and we're gonna roll out this one. Hopefully, this is the one with the extra parachutes on it. Gonna take us 4 days to roll it out onto the pad. Okay, there we go. It's on the pad. And then we're going to launch this puppy, and we're going to launch it empty. Here we go, on the pad. Okay, so this is not the one with extra parachutes. That's okay, though. We'll hopefully we'll be okay with this one here. All right, so let's go ahead and target Alzon's wreckage. Okay, stand by for launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch. And we've got liftoff of the Mercury rescue rocket, heading off into the cosmos to save Alzon from his own stupidity. Okay, so we have a thrust weight ratio right now. Right now we're just using these outside SRBs, which gives us a thrust weight ratio of about 1.3. So we have a little bit of a slow start here, but that's okay. We're going to tilt our rocket just slightly to 5 degrees. There it is. Okay, and we're going to leave it at that until we get rid of our SRBs. And I'm going to hit caps lock, give us some fine-tune control here. Okay, and first set of boosters are away. We are looking good so far. Oh. Hold on. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, can I save this? Stay up. Woo! We can do this. Oh, my goodness, that was close. Okay, now I'm tilting to the other side here. This is not good. Okay, I am all over the place on this one here. Get me to 90 degrees. Come on. Okay, looks like this one is a lost cause here. What we are going to do is we'll just have to crash this rocket into the ocean. So, release. And down it goes. Maybe we can save this pod here and we can get some extra funds from this guy. Get just a little bit of recovery funds. Oh, no. Oh, this was terrible. Okay, so thankfully there aren't any Kerbals in this rocket. And we'll open up this parachute in just a bit here. Okay, there we are. Let's go and open up and deploy the chute. SAS off. At least this is a chance for us to test to see if one parachute is enough to... yep, one parachute certainly is enough to land us down here. But that's we haven't tested one parachute with all this extra weight here coming back from orbit. So, all right, and land back into the ocean. Thankfully, though, we built a second rocket. All right, so I've learned my lesson. Next time, we got to keep us going vertical. One and into the ocean, and I wonder... No, there's no science packages on here. We're just going to recover this, get a little bit of extra money. Okay, so that was a wash. Let's see, recover, and recover. How long is it going to take to refurbish the pad? Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to upgrade something, I suppose. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and upgrade the spaceplane hangar. Okay, so VAB, we're going to roll this out. First off, we're going to recondition the pad. That's going to take us 10 days. Fortunately, this is the next rocket we're going to launch, Mercury Rescue 2. That's the one with the extra parachutes on it. So that's going to give me some peace of mind when we come landing back to the planet, knowing we have some extra parachutes just in case. All right, let's go and roll out Mercury Rescue 2. All right, 3 days. Hang in there, Alzon. We'll get you sooner or later. Hopefully with this rocket. Okay, here we go. And we'll head on to launch. This time we're going to remove Jebediah again. And... okay, empty and launch. All right, cross your fingers, guys. Here we go. We're going to do a second time's a charm. Okay, SAS on, standby, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launch! And we have liftoff of our second Mercury 2 rocket, off into the cosmos to save Alzon from his own stupidity. Hopefully this time, this rocket will not explode. Okay, and we're going to tilt our rocket ever so carefully. This time we're just going to tilt it just slightly under 5 degrees. There we go. And we're going to keep it at that. We're just going to be very careful with this one this time. Okay, and get ready for SRB separation. Okay, SRB sep is done. All right. All right, so we're looking good so far. Things look pretty stable. Whew. Oh boy. Okay, and we're just gonna do a very slight... No. Hold on, buddy. Stay the course. Do not go crazy on me. Okay, we're looking good so far. Looking good. All right. Keep it steady. Okay, there we are. So switching to orbital speed indicator, and we're going to turn our rocket to 45 degrees. Very careful like now. Oh man, this is a really sloppy launch because we are about to screw up again. Oh, come on. Come on. You can do this, buddy. Nabal is all over the place. Good. Okay. Separate. Woo! Okay, so our APWAP is now at 81 kilometers. So we are definitely going to get into space. Let's see. What's our angle like? We're at 3 degrees. We can fix that. 3 degrees isn't bad. We just need to turn ourselves, we're approaching the ascending node now, so we just need to turn ourselves southward. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and turn our rocket toward the horizon, and then, there we are. Okay, and we're going to turn ourselves slightly towards 180 degrees. That way we can more evenly match up the angle with Alzon's craft there. Okay, that should be dropping. Yep, there it is. So we are now in space, which is good. And we are matched up with Alzon's craft. Perfect. Okay, so now we need to get ourselves into orbit. Okay, so let's turn ourselves 90 degrees now. Go and 3, 2, 1, ignite. Okay. Okay, we need to drop ourselves just slightly south. There we go. Actually, let's rendezvous and show Kerbal Engineer. That way I can keep track of our relative inclination here. Make sure that we're matching up okay. Okay, good. Relative inclination is at 0.2 degrees. Looking pretty good so far. Whew. Okay, looks like we're going to be able to get ourselves in orbit. Looks like we're going to have enough delta V, actually, to intercept Alzon here. So that's good. That's good. Relative inclination is at 0.1 degrees and increasing. So we're going to have to turn our rocket slightly. Slightly again. See if we can get as close to 0 as we can. Okay, there we go. We are just about in orbit. And we got our camera change indicating that we are now in orbit. Perfect. Good deal. All right. So we've got plenty of delta V left over. Oh, man. You know what? I accidentally selected the moon. We are in amazing relative inclination if we intended to go to the moon. But we are not trying to go to the moon. I accidentally selected a wrong item. Okay, so right now we are off by 5 degrees. Yeah, so fortunately, though, we'd have enough delta V that we can correct for this error. So let's go ahead and turn ourselves southward. And let's fix our relative inclination again. Okay. And time to ascending node is going to be 7 minutes. So let's turn very carefully. There we go. And then we're going to speed up time, and we're going to approach our ascending node, and we're going to fix our relative angle here. Okay, there we are. And beginning burn. Okay, and we're dropping our relative inclination. Good. Okay, 0.1 degrees. There we go. Close enough. We are at 0.1 degrees. That's going to be close enough. We want to save as much fuel as we can. And now, let's begin our intercept. Shall we? All right, so, man, this guy's all the way out beyond the orbit of the moon. Kind of makes you wonder what this guy was doing all the way out here. Okay. Here we go. So, we had to fiddle around here with this. There it is. There it is. We got it. Okay, perfect. All right, so that puts us at 58 kilometers. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. Okay, 25 kilometers. We can do that. We can do 25 kilometers. All right, so that's going to give us a 50-second burn. Node in 24 minutes. So let's go ahead and start targeting our maneuver node here. Okay, there we are. And we are now up against our maneuver node. And we're just going to go ahead and time warp. Whew. All right. Actually, I'm not sure if we have enough delta V to be able to do this. 900 meters per second. I guess I could probably check Kerbal Engineer to see how much delta V. 3,000 delta V. Okay. We might be able to pull this off. Okay, stand by and beginning burn. Now. Okay, there we are. Yeah. We have about 3,000 Delta V left in this vehicle. Hopefully that's enough. I guess we'll see in just a little bit, eh? Okay. Here we go. And how's our fuel holding up? Fuel looks good. Okay, so we broke the world speed record, 2,500 meters per second. Nice. Okay, and we're zipping along here. And we are starting to run out of fuel. Not a good thing. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the engine. I'm just going to tippy tap this. There it is. Okay, here we go. And just a little bit more. Ah, just missed it. Let's turn ourselves around backwards. Okay, because 1,000 kilometers is not exactly ideal. And then we're going to reverse thrust until we get ourselves just a little bit better. We really don't need all this massive thrust, so I'm going to turn down our thrust limiter just slightly. There we go. Okay. And then just tippy tapping a little bit closer. There we are. All right, that'll work. Let's turn ourselves a little bit more. I think we can get ourselves just a tad bit closer. Right now we're roughly at around 50 kilometers to our target, but I think we can do a little better. Okay. Here we go. And stop the spin. Perfect. And then we're going to burn just a little bit. Actually, it looks like we're good. Huh. All right. Never mind. I guess we don't need a burn. Here we go. And let's go ahead and time warp towards our target. And let's go and turn off Kerbal Engineer there. We can do without seeing relative inclination and whatnot. I think we're doing pretty good here. Okay. Here we are. And we're coming pretty close to Alan's wreckage. Wow, Alzon made it really far out there. Okay. Here we go, coming in pretty close. Okay, switching to relative target speed, 450 meters. Wow. 457 meters per second is the speed. We're going to slow down real quick here. Okay. Let's turn around. Okay. Our target is coming up real fast. And we're going to have to slow down in a hurry if we're going to make this work. Okay, cutting off engines. We're just going to coast a little bit closer before I begin a retro burn. Okay, we're going to wait until we're about 100 kilometers. About 100,000 meters. Okay. Coming in a little bit closer. All right, now we can begin to burn. Wait. Now we can begin to burn. Here we go, burning away. And then I'm going to increase the limiter back to max. And this should drain the rest of the fuel in this stage. There it is. Whoa! Whoa! Okay, good. And Miko, main engine cut off. All right, so we're going to coast a little bit closer here. We just need to get real close to Alzon's wreckage. Okay, so we should be within 12 kilometers. Good. All right, and next up, let's see. We're going to begin another retro burn. Where is his indicator? Okay, so there's his indicator. All right, here we go. And beginning burn. And we're just going to scooch this towards... we're going to scooch this retrograde indicator. So I'm going to shepherd this thing a little bit here. Move this towards the pink marker. Because right now we're moving away from him. So all I got to do is... There we go. Now we're coming towards the target. Good. What will this put us at? Oh, all right. Perfect. We're going to be right up against him. Excelente. Okay, so we're going to be 0.2 meters, 0.2 kilometers from our target. So let me go ahead and turn on our engineer again. Excuse me. We are at 14 kilometers from our target, so we're going to go and speed up time. And all we got to do is just coast right up to him. Okay, there we are. We are now 1.4 kilometers from him. Let's scooch up a little bit closer now. 900, 700. All right, looking beautiful. All right, I think we might be able to pull this off, guys. Not too shabby at all. Okay, we're going to begin a burn right at the northern marker here. 3, 2, 1, burn. And we're going to pull our prograde marker over our pink marker here. There we go. That should get us a little bit closer. Okay, we're now approaching target at 6.4 meters per second. And there he is. Okay. Excuse me. Let's go ahead and slow ourselves down. We're zipping right past him here. Gosh, I wish I had RCS thrusters. Actually, I think I brought... Yep, I brought monopropellant fuel. Total waste, but that's okay. And we're going to limit our thrust here to about 10%. That way we don't over-thrust to our target accidentally. Okay. There we go. And we're going to come to our target pretty darn close. Perfect. Okay, and let's turn ourselves around. We may end up bumping him accidentally. If anything, the thrust from our engine is going to wash over him. I wonder if I researched lights already. There we are. Parked up right next to him. Look at that. Beautiful interception. Okay, so now, yeah, I bet you we can... I guess you can't turn on the cabin lights. Okay, let's take a look and see what he is. I hope he's a pilot. Oh, he's a scientist. Well, then. All right, we'll have to make do with a scientist then. All right, sir. Alzon, it's time for you to leave this cabin. Let's get you to EVA. Oh, neat. Okay, so this is one of those new parts. There's no ladders on this new part, though. And you can only board it. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Lights on. And let's get you over to the pod. Grab. And get yourself on board, sir. And I think that we can do just a little bit of extra science here. We can do some... Oops. All right. Well, goodbye, Alzon's wreckage. Let's go ahead and do a crew report because we are far enough away from Kerbin that we can do some high altitude reports here. Yes, we can. Let's go and transmit that data. That way we can get something out of this. Perfect. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and get ourselves back to Kerbin. Now, for my next trip, I will attempt to get Alzon back alive. Hopefully I can do that. Because we are really far out from Kerbin. This definitely means we're going to have to do some aero braking to save some fuel. The trick is, how much aero braking do we need to do? That's a big question. So, let's go ahead and go retrograde. And turn that off. Okay, and let's show the... Whoops. Let's go and show our orbital indicator here. Okay. We are at the apoapsis. So let's go ahead and scooch on over to our apoapsis. And then we're going to reverse thrust and drop our periaps. Man, this is taking a lot of delta V. Just we are so far away from Kerbin. I guess being away from the orbit of the moon will do that to you. Okay. 17 million meters. We're going to have to do a couple passes through the atmosphere of Kerbin to get us to drop our periapsis here. I mean, to get us to be able to drop our orbit. You know, I could just go ahead and just see what would happen if we drop ourselves into the planet without dropping our orbit to safely get into Kerbin. If I'm impatient. And actually, you know what? We've been doing retro thrust on 10% thrust here. Let's get this back up to 100. There we go. Much better. Okay, there we go. We got our periaps looking much better. Okay, 49. Let's do 30 kilometers. There we go. Let's see if we can come into the atmosphere at 30 kilometer altitude on the periaps and use that to sufficiently slow us down. There's a pretty good chance that we're gonna, this is, instead of an aero brake, this is going to be an aero capture. In fact, that we are going to end up falling into the atmosphere anyways. My hope, though, is that the aero brake that we do here will drop our apoapsis such that we are in a low Kerbin orbit. I really don't want to end up falling into the planet, but if that's something that's going to happen, it's something that's going to happen. All right, here we go. Let's head right into Kerbin. And we're going to end up on the night side, of course. And let's turn our engine towards retrograde there. There we go. The engine can take a little bit more heat than the capsule itself. All right. And we're going to speed up time. We are now in the atmosphere. Tearing into the atmosphere at 3 kilometers per second. Hold on tight, Alzon. Uh-oh, something's going to explode. Oh boy. We're going to lose some solar panels on this one. Yep, definitely going to explode. There it goes. There it goes. And we're going to probably lose the engine. Oh boy, I did not anticipate this. Probably should have put in some heat dissipation panels. There goes another solar panel. There goes the other solar panel. Oh boy, hold tight, buddy. Whew. Okay, so this may this may turn into another disaster. Hopefully we're gonna be okay. Uh-oh, we're about to lose our engine here. Oh boy, look how hot that engine is. Parachutes are starting to overheat a little bit too. Oh boy. Okay, so we're increasing altitude again. Good. All right, so it looks like we're going to make it. Whew, that was close. Okay, and we're starting to increase altitude. Coming back out of this. Okay, so we don't have solar panels anymore. So we're on a time limit now. We got to get back down onto the surface of Kerbin in a hurry. Okay, here we go. Looking good. Do I dare speed up time in the middle of a re-entry burn? Yes, let's do that. Okay, so physics time warp times 2. Whew, okay. And looks like we're doing good. Perfect. You know, I could probably get rid of the service module right now and just stay with the capsule here. Because we're already deep enough in our periapse, on our periapse here, that we'll just naturally fall back into the planet at some point. Of course, we're gonna end up falling onto the dark side of the planet. But that's okay though. All right, so we're back into space. And what we're going to do is we're going to adjust this slightly. We have plenty of delta V. Though we lost our solar panels in that little aero braking maneuver, we still have a pretty decent amount of electricity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift our periapse and I'm going to drop our apoapse. We're going to do that manually this time. Hopefully without all the explosions. Alright, so we're going to get ourselves prograde. Alright, don't worry, Alzon. We're going to get you home. Trust me. Alright, perfect. Alright, so now we lifted our periapse above the atmosphere. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip around to our periapse here. And then we're going to go ahead and drop our apoapsis. There we go. And dropping the apoapsis. Because ultimately what I want to do is I want to be able to re-enter Kerbin on the day side. I don't have any lights attached to this vehicle, and I really don't want to end up falling into the atmosphere on the night side of the planet without the ability to illuminate our landing. Okay, there we go. Oh boy, we're going through electricity in a hurry. So now what we got to do here is we're going to head on over to the apoapse, and then we're just going to re-enter the planet like normal. By turning our vehicle into the retrograde. And then going to turn on our engine. There we go. Okay, perfect. That should slow us down significantly. Okay. And I think we're good from here. I think we are good. Good, good, good. Let's go ahead and zip on down and get back into the atmosphere. Whew. Okay. And next step 5. Yep, our electricity is almost drained dry on the main capsule. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer electricity from our main battery over to the capsule. Let's see. There and there. Can you transfer? Well, this is a bit of a concern. I guess you can't transfer electricity now. I thought you could. Well, this is a concern. This is a little bit of an issue here. I guess the recent patch got rid of the ability to transfer electrical power. That's a huge concern. I hope that doesn't affect fuel transfers. I hope you can still transfer fuels. Let's see, Alt. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to do this without extra electricity. Okay, so, because when I separate this service module from the capsule is going to be on its own. Electrical power, which is just 5 units. I'm going to disengage electricity on that. And we're going to use the electricity from the service module until it's time. Who would have thought? I guess you really can't transfer electricity anymore. Okay. Here we go. And we're just going to speed up time. And then we're going to get rid of that pod. There we go. We're now at 5 units of electricity. So we don't have the use of our reaction wheel because we're saving battery power. Cannot engage SAS because I've cut the use of the electrical power on the capsule here. Okay. Here we go. Fingers crossed, guys. Hopefully we can land this sucker without smacking into the ground like we did with Valentina. Okay, here we go. And let's switch over to surface speed. We're still raging along at 2,100 meters per second. Okay, we're going to land somewhere around here. Looks like we're going to be crossing the Space Center. Okay, ablator. We got plenty of ablative shielding, thank goodness. Some really awesome effects there going on. Especially you can see it. You can see the heating happening on. It's a bit grainy, but still looks pretty cool. You can see the effect happening on the parachutes. Okay, and here we go. Looking good. All right, so we're going to be landing fairly decently near the Space Center, and we're going to drop down our time warp because we learned that if you time warp while re-entering the planet, you're going to hit the physics are going to be calculated in such a way where you're going to end up smacking into the planet without properly aerobraking you enough, which would allow you to open up your parachutes. Woo! Okay, it looks like we made it, guys. Looking beautiful. Okay, we're going to time warp just a little bit here. Okay, so we're just about ready to open up our parachutes. And we're going to open up our chutes now. Chute deployment. Okay, and going to open up our other chute just in case. There we go. All right, and chute number 2. And we still have another spare chute just in case. Woo! We made it, guys. Welcome home, Alzon. Nice job out there. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and speed up time, get ourselves back onto the surface of the planet. All right, 2 parachutes on a 1-ton object makes for a very, very slow fall. An amazing 4 meters per second. However, always got to keep safety in mind. Perfect. Look at that. And do we need another crew report from here, or are we good? Okay, so we got all the crew report that we needed from the ocean. EVA report, good. Okay, so we got everything that we need. Let's go and reboard. And then recover the craft. That was one expensive mission, guys. We blew up one rocket and used another rocket to try to get this guy. Okay. And let's go and recover these parts. And head on over to the Space Center. Let's see. What else do we need? Definitely need some RCS. I would love to have some RCS thrusters. But what else do we really, really need? Heavy rockets, tiny engines. Look at that. External fuel ducts. Yes, yes, and yes, please. Okay, let's go ahead and get that. So we'll start researching that. That takes 45 days to research. And we're going to save. That was quite a mission there. Perfect. Okay. Looks like we've had a pretty awesome start here, guys. We managed to save a scientist. Really wish we'd saved an engineer or a pilot, but that's okay. So we saved a Kerbal. We managed to get ourselves off the ground. Everything is looking good. We've only lost one Kerbal, and that's Valentina. Fortunately, that she's immortal. One of the famous orange suits, so we got her back. And we lost another rocket as a result of some of the missions that we did. So that was a pretty productive career that we've done so far. So we're going to go ahead and take a break for now. Thank you, everyone, for popping in today during our Minimalist Space Program broadcast. And you guys have a wonderful day. Happy Veterans Day, guys. And we look forward to seeing you guys again next time.